Welcome to Members Only, a show centered around CMAC members and the projects they produce. My name is Johnny Pacina, and I'll be your host for today. In this edition of Members Only, we'll be talking to Chris Austin, the producer of Tales from the Block, and Bill Jordan, the producer of The Ceremony of Candles. First up is Chris Austin, the producer of Tales from the Block. Chris, thank you for joining us today on Members Only.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And so let's tell the viewers a little bit about your show, what some of the footage we saw there was about.
Well, a long time ago, I lived with some people, and it's hard to explain. It had such an impact on my life living with all these people and all these creative people, except for we were all addicts. And so it's like, we all had our own thing, and then a lot of us, once we all moved out and sort of started the next chapter of our lives, we, some of us quit drugs, some of us didn't. I personally did. And then I was like, well, I want to make films. I spent so much of my time sitting there watching movies, high on heroin, so it's like, I love these things. I always thought, the things that I've seen and stuff would be, I think people would like to see it, I guess, maybe. So I hooked up with someone that I used to run with a long time ago, and I was like, let me follow you around for a while. And show me your interests. Show me things that people aren't going to think that you do during the day. They're just going to look at you and think one thing, but there's so much more to you.
Wow, so it sounds like a really personal type of project you're
Very
working
much so.
on. Yeah. So that's, wow, so that kind of gives a different, perspective or angle at looking at that sort of thing, right? Delving into the world of addiction. And was that mostly local here too?
Yeah,
a lot of those
pretty much all
there
around
too?
the Tower District.
Gotcha, wow, so okay. And that's really interesting too, because with all the different types of programming that come to CMAC, you get some basic, PSAs, promos, you get some music shows and things like that, and it's every so often a project that means a lot to someone that really has touched their lives and they want to express that, comes by, and we appreciate you coming in and having the courage to tell that story, because I think it's an important story too, I would say as well. So let's talk about too the process of making it, I guess, as well. How was it? Did you find any difficulties, maybe even more on a personal level other than the technical aspect? Did you find any difficulties getting back into filming that?
Well, it was, it's my first project, so it was just learning everything, like a crash course, of course they teach you this stuff here, but when you get out there, it's a little different, and you got to think on the fly a little bit more, and then it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I don't think I'm going to be doing a documentary style anything for a while, because that was, just takes so long, and then to get someone whose life is, he's hard to get a hold of and stuff like that, so took a while. Sometimes I would only get a few minutes of footage or something each time I checked out a camera.
I see. Yeah, it's one of those things, kind of a wake-up call for some people, because they'll take out the equipment. They're like, I'm going to shoot a 30-minute or an hour film, and they realize, whoa, this is actually a lot more than I was bargaining for here. But it's definitely possible, and we always are here at CMAC to help you and assist you in any way. So of course, we want to offer any helping hands that we can to help you get your project finished. But you seem to have a pretty good grasp on film already with your interest in it already. Do you have any other prior experience in maybe video editing? Did you bring that to the table, or you were just learning as you went?
No, just learning everything. I've gone to school for it, but all I've done is write about film. I've never made one. And then I got tired of writing about it after I cleaned up and went to school, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to do something. And then someone, my friend Calif was just like, hey, have you heard of CMAC? And I was like, No, I've not. So I came by and went on a tour with two of my friends who are also members now, and yeah, I was hooked.
Oh, great. Yeah, we hope you stay and make some more content. So, what is some advice you would give to someone that is starting? We talked about maybe, it will take up your time, but it's definitely possible, right? In the process, because some of the members we've had before, they've had finished projects, and a few of them are in the process of still making their program, such as yourself. So, what is, I guess, in a way, what advice would you give to people at this stage in your production now?
I guess go for it. It's gonna seem scary or something at first, and I think that was my whole thing about picking up a camera for the first time and actually going out there and seeing that you can do it. It seems like you're not going to be able to, but if you, I don't know, just keep running.
Just keep going with it.
Yeah.
Huh? Nice. Do you find that you find any inspiration or borrow, say, maybe some shots from some of your favorite films or documentaries you watched? Do you kind of borrow some of that stuff? Do you have any inspiration in that sense?
I haven't gone that far yet, just because it's like I'm just following someone around. It's like there's a leash tied to them, and I just got to keep going and making sure my shadow's not in the shot, basically. Soon, I hope, the next project I want to do is, I've already written the script for it and scripted, so it's like maybe I'll start then with like angles and sort of looking at what inspired me.
Do you find that when you write a script, it helps the filmmaking process a little? Does it make it a little easier instead of just going out there and?
It seems, because it's the skeletons right there.
Yeah.
With what I'm working on now, it's just, well, what are we going to get today?
Yeah. And it's also amazing, for me personally, being on some shoots, is when you have it all scripted out, it's good to have that backbone, but you may stray away from that. You may feel like, well, I did write this down, but I'm here right now and I'm looking at the environment. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to do something totally different. Have you experienced some of those situations too?
I guess I'll find out next time, because the script I have is actually only about 5 sentences, but so I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'll probably end up changing a sentence.
Well, it's nice. It might even just branch out from that sentence, just you start thinking of the ideas just by inspired from that one thing. So that's great. When do you plan on finishing? Do you have like a date you're setting yourself for, or you're just kind of whenever it happens?
As far as, I feel like I'm pretty much done shooting. I just have to get like one interview with him that I want to use as like voiceover for the most part.
Okay, gotcha. And I know we already talked about some challenges we were talking about, especially with just the subject matter and who you're filming. But looking at more of a technical aspect, you had talked about that you experienced another kind of, well, I guess part technical, but mostly someone had taken your hard drive and you didn't have the footage anymore. So at that point, how did you feel? Did you feel like you were done, or?
I felt hopeless for a second, and I was like, what am I going to do? Because there was this perfect, like, what I was going to use actually throughout the whole film was this long shot of him going down the street and picking flowers, because he's really into flowers, and that's kind of the other side of the coin with this one. And it was just this beautiful long shot of him just like not even looking at me. It was like I wasn't there, just following me around for 15 minutes, and then that was gone. That was a bummer, because I was like, that was it. After I was done, I was like, this is going to be it, And so yeah, someone jacked it from my break room at work, and I was like, we need to get something that locks back here.
Right.
But
yeah, and in whatever way it happens, I've experienced it too. You have a hard drive and you think, oh, all my stuff's safe on here. But either it's a technical thing or something like that happens. But yeah, if anything, for those of you who are out there, especially new potential members or some of you who are still working on a project, just keep at it. Don't let one hiccup or some major malfunction, technical or otherwise, stop you. Again, too, just bringing it back to specifically here at CMAC, we are here to help. So if you need to get back on track, and sometimes I find I would hate to say it, but I find a benefit sometimes when I do lose footage, because I'm like, I know how I did it the first time, but in your case, though, you had that one shot that you wanted to use, right? So you said that was one long shot. Are you going to try to do another long shot, or you just decided to segment it up a little bit more? Did you change your approach?
I decided, well, I mean, it's just, since it's what I get what I get. I followed him around for a little bit and sort of got about a 7-minute shot that's similar, you know,
Okay,
but
right.
there's all this other stuff I've got to like pepper
in, yeah.
around.
Definitely. Are you going to be in the video at all, whether it's, say, a voiceover or saying something, or do you find yourself?
No, I
Perhaps
don't want
you
to.
don't
I don't
wanna
want to be on the other side of the camera in any way, shape, or form for this project.
For this project, okay.
For the next one, I'm probably going to play a drug dealer.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And I tell people this too, and you may see the benefit of it as well. When you're on the other side of the camera, you appreciate what someone's doing on the behind it, because then you're like, okay, I know what they're doing. In some ways, you could even kind of help them out. You know, in some ways, I know a camera's pointing at me. I wouldn't want to adjust in my seat like this or something, you know, because I know that's going to give them a bad shot. So I already know that I'm going to benefit the person on the other side because I've been there before. You've been behind the camera. Once you go in front of the camera, you all work together, and it's this great thing that works together. So you said you were going to play a drug dealer in this next one. Are you writing this story? Are you going to bring in some local talent? Are you going to talk to people at CMAC maybe to get some casting and crew going?
I already have the two main characters. They're all down. We already had like a sort of informal production meeting.
Okay, great.
Basically having drinks at Strummers.
Okay,
and,
nice. Hey, that works as long as you get some talk, some discussion.
And then I showed it them. And then there's a scene in it where someone goes to a local show. So a local band's going to be kind of in the background,
Nice.
like as two people are interacting.
Okay, cool. Will that potentially be your setting too, you think, over in Tower, that area?
Sort of Chinatown.
Yeah, Chinatown.
For the music,
Okay.
definitely.
Nice. So, Chris, we're just about out of time, so I appreciate your time. And actually, I think we're going to change it up from previous episodes here. We usually had the guests leave after this, but I think you're going to stick around with us. So
all right.
We'll all be talking about our projects and having a good time here. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Bill Jordan, the producer of Ceremony of Candles. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Members Only. Joining me now is Bill Jordan, the producer of the Ceremony of Candles. Let's take a look. back, everyone. As you see here, I have Bill, Jordan, and Chris. Thanks for sticking around longer with us here. So we'll all be learning here about everyone's programs and projects, and in your case, Candle of Lights, as we have officially titled it, it sounds like. That's been quite a few past 2 to 3 weeks, hasn't it?
It's been an interesting period of time, very definitely, yes.
Yeah, it's we collaborated here a little bit, didn't we?
Yes.
You met with Caesar, a mobile production engineer.
Yes.
And you got this whole project set up. And one thing before we start talking a little bit about your specific project, I wanted to mention that all the members out there watching, or those who may be interested in CMAC, you can do a production just like that. We have a mobile production vehicle that you can use and use it in that way. And you took full advantage of that, didn't you?
Oh, I certainly did.
So let's talk about the inspiration. What inspired you to start this particular project?
Well, I've been a member of Hope Lutheran Church here in Fresno for a number of years. And one of the things that impressed me a great deal about this particular church was at this time of Advent, at the Christmas season, each year the choir director does a program for Advent and Christmas with the choir and with orchestra members coming in. And it's one of the most beautiful and moving things each year, a different one each year, but one of the most beautiful and moving things each year that I've experienced.
Oh, great. And you wanted to capture that on film.
I did,
yes,
very much
great.
so. And wanted to capture the feeling of not just the choir, but the feeling of the way the performance goes in the church itself, because it's a beautiful piece of architecture on the inside as well.
Most definitely, I would agree there, helping you set up there and getting all the gear in there.
Yeah.
It's a process, but it's definitely worth it when you're done, and it can all be done in one evening, essentially. That's what we did, right?
And frankly, one of the reasons that I did this project, it also is to have the experience of working with the mobile video van that CMAC has. That's a tremendous piece of equipment, a combination of various things, and to be able to work with 4 cameras, technical switching equipment, audio equipment, and all of that, all at the same time to produce something with what I hope comes across as having a very live performance feel to it. What I knew would be quite a challenge, but I knew it'd be quite a project.
Well, perfect segue into that, because my next question was what were some of the challenges you faced going into this first major production here at CMAC for you?
Well, one of the biggest challenges was the issue of copyright.
Yes.
And fortunately, the choir director, Tom Lindstrom, has been at this for about 40 years.
Oh.
Being a choir director, and his father was a choir director before him.
I see.
And during that period of time when he taught choir at Kasner Intermediate School and also was directing the choir at Hope, he's been in contact with quite a number of music composers and authors and publishing companies and the like. So he was a great help to me in getting the permissions we needed.
Well, that's great.
And securing an anonymous donor for the broadcast, cablecast rights,
Right.
so that we could put this program on for the Christmas to New Year's period of time on CMAC. It's quite interesting dealing with the negotiators for the publishers. The publisher is in the north of the country,
Right.
up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, but their negotiator is in Los Angeles.
Oh, of
and
course.
they're representing a licensing company called Broadcast Music, Inc.
Oh, I see.
So it was quite interesting going through the process.
That sounds like a really intricate process, and you seem to be you took care of that pretty well. Was there anything technically, would you say, in your production that you found that might have been difficult as you were looking at the shots, maybe?
Well, yes, and since this is a program that's titled Members Only, I'll share a little minor secret with you. And that is that the mobile production, video production van was not available on the Sunday that the choir performed for the entire congregation, yet I wanted a live feel to it. So we recorded the part with the mobile video van on the Wednesday before the Sunday, and then we recorded additional footage on Sunday with the congregation there, and we managed to combine those two.
How about that?
To achieve the live effect.
The magic of filmmaking, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, that's great. Chris, are you sounding like you may want to try the mobile production van in the future?
I was just thinking about how intimidating it sounds. There's so many cameras,
Right.
and just it's like we're there, we're doing this, and I don't know.
It could be, yeah, it does sound definitely intimidating, but as Bill has shared with us, it's definitely doable. So hopefully, I know it may not be fitting the style of what you're going to be doing soon, but it seems like perhaps you can get something going in the future. Seems like you enjoy music too,
Yeah,
right?
and live
so
music and
getting live
whatnot.
music coverage, giving that live feel, and the fact that you can get those collect all that footage and then start putting it in places you want to, especially if it's the same performance. It's doable, and you use a multicam setup. Everyone can do it here at CMAC if they want to. So, and just talking about connecting members here and all that, what is another piece of advice you could probably get? You gave us a little insider secret there, but
Yes.
is there anything else you can give the viewers?
Well, one of the things I think I do want to say for folks who are participating here at CMAC is, don't be intimidated by the idea of the video van. The nice advantage of that is that you do all of the planning ahead of time, you get your crew assembled, and then when the live event that you're recording occurs, you have the luxury of having all 4 cameras being able to dissolve from one to another or cut from one to another. And by the time you're to the end, other than cleaning up what you're putting together, you're done.
You're done. Yeah, that's right. Because we also are live switching too, which may even benefit you in the future too, Chris, if you wanted to do something. You can bring 3 cameras out to the field and record all those things separately and cut them together later. But if you have a live switcher right there, you have someone pressing a button, almost essentially editing it, just as we're doing now in the studio show, cutting to cameras.
Yes.
It saves so much editing time and work afterwards.
Oh, it's tremendous to be able to do that. And one of the differences is when you're checking out a camera and taking it in the field and shooting something, you've done, I'd say, really less than half of the work you're going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you go with a crew of, we had a crew of 9 or 10 people. And when you go into the field with a crew of 9 or 10 people and you're done at the end, yes, you have a little bit of cleanup editing to do, but the bulk of your work has occurred in real time.
Exactly. And minimal editing afterwards, right? You just had to add a title and do some other things. But
We had to add a
yeah.
title. We added a little bit of voiceover stuff at one point, and the credits at the end, which are quite long when you have that many, when you have a choir of
Make sure
25 people and an orchestra
yeah.
and the crew from CMAC. But
Did you have trouble?
It's a totally different approach.
It is, right? Yes, definitely. Did you have trouble finding some crew, or was it pretty like, hey, I'm going to do this show, this is what's happening in the state? Did you get good response right away?
I was frankly a little worried that we would have trouble finding a crew because this was recorded over the week before Christmas.
Right. It's holiday time.
And it's holiday time, and a lot of people have left to go to family reunions for
Right.
Christmas time and the like, and school is out, and
They've already
and
decided
whatnot.
they're done for the year, right?
And they're concentrating on the shopping and the getting the cards out and all. But I was very, very pleased, and I'm very, very appreciative of how supportive the people at CMAC that are other members
Of
were
course.
of this project, and it was amazing. Everyone that we needed showed up.
Nice. That's
And
always a wonderful feeling.
When I say showed up, I mean, yes, they committed that they'd show up, but they showed up online and said, yes, I'll be interested in doing this project, and then we were all able to get
That's
together.
great.
exactly.
And is this going to be, I imagine you would take a little break after this.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
is this going to be it for you? Hopefully you can, I mean, maybe not necessarily a van shoot, but some other project. Has it inspired you to try something else? Or?
Oh, I'm going to be, as much as I can, a long-time volunteer
Okay.
with
Hey,
CMAC.
perhaps you got a new crew member
You
sitting right
never
next
know.
to you.
Could be. One of the reasons that I did this project and got involved with CMAC was because I know all of the equipment that is here. I have some idea of the cost of all of this equipment.
Yeah.
And as I've told some folks around here, now I pursued a career for 40 years, and now I've retired. Before I pursued that career, everything was black and white TV, analog,
It's a whole new world for
two
you, right?
cameras. There was no such thing as computer editing. There was nothing digital. So I've come back to, as you've said, a whole new world.
Yeah.
But besides that, the idea that I can pay $50 a year to be a member and get to play with all of these
Everything.
marvelous toys
Yes, exactly.
is amazing.
And a lot of, if I may add too to that, is there's a lot of concepts that probably spill over from what you originally learned to now. I mean, it's all the same shot composition, all the rules, especially for a talk show just like this. You want to make sure you have good headroom,
Yes.
good composition. So that's the beauty of it too. The technology may change, but the ideas still same, remain intact. So we're just about out of time, Bill. So thank you, Chris. Thank you again for being here. Is there anything less you would want to add?
Yeah, I would want to say that for viewers who are looking for the program, it's going to show roughly twice a day between now and the last showing on
December.
the 31st.
Right.
And it will be under Hope Lutheran Church Choir Cantata.
Excellent. Good plug there, and we'll make sure that viewers can find it on our website. So that wraps it up for today's Members Only. If you'd like to see more about any of the shows we've talked about today, you can look for them on CMAC channels Comcast 93, as well as AT&T channel 99. If you don't have either one of those cable services, you can go to our website, cmac.tv, to watch the live streaming on our channels through our website. Thanks again to our guests, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Have a happy new year.